It's all a part of this Epstein file. Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch, and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls now.
Well, and
this is our life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was 17 is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then had to apologize.
The latest tranche of Epstein files from the Department of Justice contains around 3 million documents, thousands of still photographs, and
we've got some explosive news to unpack. The newest batch of Epstein-related files has sent shockwaves everywhere, and Jay-Z's name popping up in those documents has everyone talking. For years, whispers have followed him around, hinting at shady dealings and questionable connections, but now things might be heating up for real as investigators reopen old reports linked to the Epstein network. Federal agents reportedly dug into files that had been sitting untouched for years, and suddenly, anonymous tips started coming back to light. These reports were originally sent to a federal hotline after Epstein's arrest, and one of them supposedly mentioned both Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein. The claims go way back to the 1990s, and if true, they raise serious questions about who was connected to who back then. According to those reports, some people allege that big-name celebrities had ties to Epstein's private gatherings. It's been said that many of these high-profile figures managed to stay protected for years, silencing anyone who tried to speak out, often through power, pressure, or payoffs.
Regard to Epstein and some of the celebrity or well-known powerful people who are involved here.
Of course there is.
Absolutely. I'm probably more afraid of the people we don't know about.
Yeah.
The people you don't know about, the people who know that they may be on any kind of list that is.
People who are purposely trying to get that list to stay away or not be on that list. That's who scares me.
What do you think about
Jeffrey Epstein? Was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation.
But now, with these newly unsealed documents in the public eye, it looks like those powerful names might not be able to stay hidden anymore. Jaguar Wright has been making noise like never before. She's calling out Jay-Z directly, saying he's managed to dodge serious questions for years, even though, in her words, people in the industry already knew what was really going on.
So nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Quando Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
Yeah. So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it one more.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal signed or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
Who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it. And the 6 hours that she spent with him and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up till the next day to come and collect the check.
One of her boldest claims is that Jay-Z allegedly helped bring Rihanna into the U.S. when she was still underage, supposedly pushing her to sign a contract before she was ready. Jaguar says Rihanna herself once confirmed that Jay-Z pressured her into that deal, describing it as something she couldn't refuse. Jaguar also says she was around during the time Rihanna got signed, and according to her, everyone behind the scenes couldn't stop whispering about how young she looked. She claims Rihanna was spending long stretches of time surrounded by powerful adults with little to no family watching over her. As Rihanna's fame exploded, Jaguar insists that her circle changed fast and she was kept on a tight leash by her management. And that's not all. Jaguar went even further, saying Jay-Z had close ties with another young artist who rarely gets talked about but definitely should. Jaguar doesn't hold back when she talks about Jay-Z. She paints him as someone who's obsessed with controlling every detail of his public image. According to her, people might see him as this flawless mogul, but behind closed doors, she claims everything is carefully staged to protect his empire. In her words, power and control mean more to him than pure talent. And that, she says, is exactly where his name gets tangled with Epstein's.
Hey, you should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Pound the Replay and replaced with all new handlers.
And died because he was my son.
He died because of
your... He was targeted because he's my son. He was working on his EP. I bought Philadelphia for him so he didn't have to sign to a company because I knew what it was going to do. He interned at Rock Nation. And they approached him to sacrifice me. I saw his death when he was 19. I moved us here to stop it, to prevent it, to avoid it. They take them anyway to show you what the harm is. Giovanni, his death is why I do what I do.
Epstein, the disgraced financier, wasn't just running his own twisted circle. He was allegedly gathering dirt on famous names and politicians, keeping them under his thumb with blackmail and fear. Jaguar suggests Jay-Z operates in a similar way, using his influence to keep people quiet and maintain his spotless image. What's wild is that Jay-Z has already faced multiple lawsuits from women claiming he manipulated or mistreated them. And some of those cases even mention incidents from when the women were allegedly underage. When you stack that history against these new allegations, it's getting harder for people to dismiss the possibility of deeper connections. Then comes Gene Deal. He's now stepping forward, insisting that the claims surrounding Jay-Z are very real. Gene says the Epstein files could shake the entire music world, with big names like Jay-Z potentially facing a serious reckoning. He even points out that a lot of the rumors folks once brushed off as nonsense are now starting to match up with what's being exposed in these files. Gene also breaks down how the inner circle of power works. When accusations start swirling, teams move fast. Lawyers jump in, PR machines spin into overdrive, and suddenly, silence becomes the rule. He says some insiders know exactly what happened, but they stay quiet because speaking up could cost them everything. Gene Deal doesn't stop there. He even claims that powerful politicians and public figures who once stood proudly beside big-name artists are now shaking in their boots. According to him, everyone's suddenly nervous because those old friendships and photo ops might come back to haunt them.
And kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around? And she's, oh, it's cool, it's cool. I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now.
Nobody wants their legacy rewritten by the truth coming out, and that's exactly why so many are staying quiet right now. And of course, all this chatter eventually circles back to Beyonce. She's always been open about her story with Jay-Z, saying they met when she was 18, became close friends first, and only started dating later on. According to her, they talked for over a year before things turned romantic, and everything happened the right way. That's the official version, and it stayed consistent for years. But not everyone buys that timeline. Some industry voices, including Gene Deal, have hinted there's more to the story. He claims Jay-Z was already in Beyonce's world when she was still very young, suggesting that things may have started earlier than what's been publicly said. Then the conversation took another twist when people started mentioning Aaliyah. Dame Dash once revealed that both he and Jay-Z were interested in her, but he made sure to clarify that she was an adult at that time. This part hits deep, especially considering Aaliyah's early experiences with R. Kelly, which were already heartbreaking and widely known. What really got under Dame Dash's skin was the fact that Jay-Z later teamed up with R. Kelly for music projects, even though everyone knew about his disturbing reputation. That move left a lot of people in the industry shaking their heads. But Jay-Z isn't the only powerful name being mentioned right now. The newly surfaced Epstein files are massive, We're talking millions of pages, and they're dragging some of the biggest names in the world into the spotlight. One that's catching a ton of attention is Bill Gates. Buried inside those documents are draft emails that Epstein reportedly wrote to himself back in 2013, and one of them directly mentions Gates. In that strange draft, Epstein seemed frustrated and claimed Gates wanted some of their old messages deleted. Now everyone's asking, why would someone like Bill Gates want to wipe out messages linked to Epstein? The whole thing is raising serious eyebrows. Some of those drafts even touch on personal topics and unusual requests that don't seem connected to business at all. The writing is messy, scattered, and hard to follow.
It said that Bill Gates wanted to get from him antibiotics to give to Melinda because he got syphilis or he got something.
Damn.
The clap, chlamydia, whatever he got. He got some sort of an STD from a prostitute.
Do you think if she could have the choice between getting the, what did she get, $50 billion or not getting the syphilis, which
well,
would she
whatever
take?
she got, I bet it wasn't syphilis. It was probably the clap. It was probably chlamydia or something like that.
That's no big deal.
But if who knows if that's true, though? Here's the thing. Like, Epstein clearly was some sort of a blackmailer. And this is an email that Epstein wrote. So it could be complete fiction. Epstein could have wrote that just to put pressure on Bill Gates for some fucking business deal. Like, who fucking knows? He could have spread rumors and then said that he'll squash those rumors. But these guys are dealing in deception and blackmail. And so you can't, like, assume that it's true.
Think about how many relationships Epstein had and that he was working almost every one of them, leveraging.
Yeah. But one thing stands out. Epstein clearly had a lot to say about his link to Gates. And now, with those notes out in the open, people are wondering what exactly was going on between one of the world's richest men and a man tied to so much darkness. Even Gates' ex-wife recently admitted she felt deeply disappointed after learning what was in those files. As these revelations keep surfacing, the tension around the Epstein files is reaching a boiling point. Investigators and journalists are racing to connect the dots, and the public wants answers now more than ever. Every week, new documents, flight logs, and private communications are coming to light, and it's painting a disturbing picture of how far Epstein's influence really stretched. What's even wilder is that sources close to the case say there are still hundreds of names that haven't been made public yet. Insiders claim that several music moguls, Hollywood stars, and even political figures could be named once the remaining pages are fully unsealed. People are bracing themselves for what's next, because if the first batch was this explosive, the rest could blow the lid off everything. Meanwhile, whispers online suggest that some of these powerful individuals are already moving to protect themselves. Reports say private security has been tightened, lawyers are working overtime, and PR teams are scrambling to manage the fallout before things spiral out of control. It's all turning into a media storm that no one can escape. Social media is on fire. Fans are questioning their idols, old interviews are being rewatched, and clips that once seemed harmless now look like clues. Some claim they've spotted hidden references or strange behavior that suddenly makes more sense in the light of these files. Whether these theories hold up or not, one thing's clear. The internet isn't letting go of this story anytime soon. The deeper this story goes, the darker it gets. Now, insiders are hinting that the next round of unsealed Epstein documents could directly name even more music industry giants, and people are already speculating who might be exposed next. Rumors are flying that some of the biggest collaborations, hit songs, and business deals might not be as innocent as they seemed. Everything from charity events to luxury island parties is now under the microscope. Whistleblowers are also starting to step forward. People who once worked behind the scenes at these high-end gatherings are finally talking. They're describing scenes that sound straight out of a movie, exclusive parties where the most powerful names in entertainment, politics, and business mingled behind closed doors. According to one insider, some guests were untouchable. Nobody dared to ask questions no matter how strange things looked. And while the public is demanding justice, there's still a thick wall of silence coming from the top. Many of the celebrities named so far have chosen to ignore the headlines, hoping the chaos will fade. But it's only fueling more suspicion. Fans are digging deeper, hunting for old footage, strange lyrics, or suspicious business moves that could tie back to Epstein's empire.
At 15, 16, 17 years old. She was running all around Philadelphia because Jay-Z promised her that they could be, normal when she wasn't with Corrupt. Corrupt was her fake boyfriend. which is why when they tried to use her to say that she was actually in the car and there with Keepy D and all of that, I'm like, that girl wasn't even there.
Meanwhile, experts believe this might just be the beginning. The files reportedly include financial records, offshore transfers, and secret meeting logs that could unravel how far Epstein's network truly went. If those details hit the public, they could change the entertainment industry forever. People are starting to realize this isn't just about one man's crimes, it's about an entire system built on silence, power, and fear, and that system is finally starting to crack open. The pressure is exploding now. And the closer investigators get to the truth, the more chaotic things are becoming. Reports say that several high-profile figures linked to Epstein's inner circle have quietly fled the country or gone completely off the grid. Private jets leaving in the middle of the night, social media accounts wiped clean. It's like some people are trying to vanish before the next wave of files drops. At the same time, new whistleblower statements are shaking things up even more. One source who worked close to Epstein's operations claims there were coded lists, names, initials, and symbols that allegedly referred to elite clients and powerful guests. Investigators are now trying to decode what those marks mean, and some experts believe they could directly tie to the world of entertainment and global politics. Public outrage is hitting an all-time high. Online forums and independent journalists are uncovering patterns, pointing to how certain business deals and partnerships suddenly stopped after Epstein's arrest. Fans are now wondering if that was a coincidence or if it was a desperate move to erase connections before they were exposed. Meanwhile, the people still standing in the spotlight are under heavy fire. Every interview, every old photo, every quote is being re-examined. The media is demanding explanations, and those staying silent are only fueling more speculation. The world is watching, and everyone wants to know, how far did this really go, and who else was involved? This final part is where things get really wild. Let's rewind for a second. Because remember, Aaliyah's past with R. Kelly was already dark and heartbreaking. What had Dame Dash fuming was that even after everything came out, Jay-Z still went on to collaborate with R. Kelly, knowing exactly what kind of person he was. That decision still leaves a bad taste for a lot of people who remember how public those warnings were. But now, the spotlight's much bigger than just Jay-Z. The latest Epstein files are uncovering connections that reach across industries, across continents, and across unimaginable levels of power. These documents are massive, millions of pages deep, and inside them are names that no one ever expected to see.
Started dating Beyonce at 17, 18, he was 30-something. You didn't know his age. When I look back and see how old Jay-Z was, I think Jay-Z was born in like 69 or 67, something like that, 67 right there, 69. I think he was born in 69. Beyonce, they said she was born in 81. You understand? But back then, in 81, when we was in the club together, 98, 99, she wasn't even supposed to be in the club, but she was in the club. It was Club Eugene's, and Jay was dating her. And at that time, if you look at Jay's age, he was about 30 years old. So, isn't she still somewhat a child? To me, she is. But I guess they protect child. That's how you protect a child, you know, dating her at the age of 30-some years old, and she's 17, 18 years old. If that's her true age. We really don't know her true age because Gabrielle Union said she went to junior high school with her, and Gabrielle Union is considered 6, 7 years older than Beyonce age that she getting. So we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? But to get back to your letter, I believe that the lawyer was doing what he did, and he threw shade at Puff in the interim of that by saying that all celebrities, you may think all celebrities are alike, you know what I'm saying? He know he's under this situation with Puff. But you got to look at this right here. They sent him a letter. Busby sent him a letter for two reasons, I believe. To open up the floodgate, just like that 1-800 bad boy number did, and people start calling in saying what Puff did to them.
One name that instantly caught attention, Bill Gates. According to the uncovered drafts, Epstein was writing strange emails to himself around 2013, and in one of those drafts, he mentioned Gates directly. The note sounded angry, claiming Gates wanted some old messages deleted, and that's raising serious questions. Why delete anything if there's nothing to hide? What were those messages really about? Some of these drafts even touch on private topics that seem way too personal, not business related at all. The handwriting is messy, scattered, almost frantic. But one thing is clear. Epstein had a connection to one of the richest men on the planet, and even Gates' ex-wife has spoken out, saying she was heartbroken to learn about his ties to Epstein. But the story doesn't stop there, because now reporters are saying Epstein might not have been working alone. Evidence from messages and internal memos suggest he had deep ties with foreign intelligence, possibly even helping other countries with secret operations. That's when names like the Mossad and the CIA start getting thrown into the mix. Investigators found that Epstein had frequent visits from individuals linked to intelligence networks, and photos even show him meeting with officials in his New York apartment. The speculation that Epstein's operation wasn't just about money or fame. It might have been part of a much larger system involving information exchange, manipulation, and control. Some experts have even said Mossad and the CIA are like twins in the shadows, sharing intel, resources, and missions that the public never sees. And the craziest part? Epstein's partner Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was rumored to have been a double agent connected to the CIA, the Mossad, and even Soviet operatives. When he was found dead, floating near his yacht, it was ruled a heart attack. But plenty of people never bought that story. His mysterious death, the timing, the powerful guests at his funeral, all of it just adds to the long list of unanswered questions. So now, people are asking, was Epstein just another piece in a global puzzle, one involving government secrets, celebrity power, and blackmail at the highest levels? Or was he the key player holding it all together until it finally fell apart? Everything seems to connect. The music industry, politics, tech billionaires, and intelligence agencies, all tangled in the same web of influence and silence. And through it all, Jay-Z's name keeps showing up in conversations people once thought were pure conspiracy. So what do you think? Is this just wild speculation? Or are we finally starting to see the truth peek through the cracks? Do you believe Jay-Z will ever face real accountability for his alleged ties to Epstein and the elite circle that kept everything hidden for so long? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to know what you think about all this. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more updates, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next drop, because this story is far from over. See you in the next one.